proceeding with our code, we'll first learn about the annotations. Now coming on to what are annotations in Java. You might have seen this override whenever you were whenever you were implementing the OOPS concept. And who is going to tell me what do you mean by overriding? Let me see. Rahul, you tell me what do you mean by overriding?
I have knowledge in MERN stack, but in Java I don't have knowledge about it, ma'am.
Can you please repeat?
I work with MERN stack, ma'am, so I don't have knowledge about this override in Java.
So you never did any kind of Java coding?
No, ma'am.
So
Just
while
as a
taking
part
the
of
OOPS class, I told you people about the overriding as well.
I haven't worked out in OOPS.
Okay. Harshit Vishwakarma, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So, just tell me, what do you mean by overriding?
Ma'am, while we are using the same name function to parent class to the child class, while we are using overriding.
Can you please repeat your answer?
While we are using same name function to the parent class to the child class, where we are using the overriding concept.
And we are doing the same name function for doing what?
Just like ma'am, while we are creating the some function, then on a parent class, then we have to create a child class, but the same some function we will use. Then where we write the override concept.
Okay, I got to know that none of you do see the previous class lectures, or in order you don't even study. All right, that's not my issue anymore. So we use this override function in order to override annotation to override a function. Say for example, if I want my one function to perform some different kind of function over there, what I do, if I want my function to perform a sum to sum up two numbers. So and at the next time I want my function to print a hello world. So over there, I can override the same function in order to print hello world. And for that, I have to override the function. Got it? And this at the rate override denotes over here that override is an annotation. And this override does not have any kind of function to play inside the Java program. Instead, it just provides us with the information that this function is being overridden. So this is what we call the annotations. So here, as you people can see, annotations are special markers in Java that provide information to the compiler runtime or frameworks like Spring Boot. They do not change the actual logic of the program, as I have already told you, but help in configuring behaviors. Here we will work with REST controller annotations. Got it? So REST controller will tell our Spring Boot that we are implementing HTTP requests. So before that, we will see that why do we use these annotations. We do not write these annotations. For that, what we have to do, we have to write bean id is equal to book controller and class, and this is form example demo book controller. We have to write this thing repeatedly. So this makes what? This becomes very time consuming and it makes the code very hard to manage. So for that purpose only, we use these kind of annotations. That is REST controller, request mapping, get mapping, post mapping, and further these kind of mappings in order to provide HTTP requests to the Java Spring Boot. And you don't have to worry, I'll share this PDF file to you people as well. So the team will share you. Now coming on to the code.
Ma'am, these MERN students can leave the meeting, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. It depends upon you. If you want to learn Java, then you people can stay, or else people can leave as well. All right. So I hope you people know about how to create a Spring Boot project, and inside that you people know how to create these kind of files and directories. I'm giving you people 5 minutes in order to create the entire project folder, Spring Boot project folder, and create these files folders inside the project. And let me know once you people have created this. I'm waiting till 8:10. Just let me know in the chat box. Alright, so I have given enough time to you people in order to create the files as well as folders. Now here what I am going to do inside the model is, here in this file I will be making three kinds of field for the user to input his values, that is the ID and then title as well as the author. ID will be provided to the user from the Java Spring Boot itself. The user will not have to provide any kind of ID. So over here, what I have to write is package form dot example dot demo dot and then followed by the folder name, that is model. And then I will write the class name, that is public book, public class book, private. These are my field names as well as my variables, that is ID, which is obviously a string object. ID is the int object, and then private int or private string, private string author, and then public book. After that, I'll write public. You can also delete this thing. Book int ID, string title, as well as string author. So who is going to tell me what is this entire thing? Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's a
So who
constructor.
is going to tell me what is this one? What do we call this?
It's a constructor.
Yeah, it's the constructor. And why do we use the constructor? To initialize the value.
Definition of an object.
All
Object.
right. Got it. Okay. For that, I'll write this dot id is equal to, and I'll assign the value as id. And then I'll write this dot title is equal to title. And then this dot author is equal to author. And then I will use the getters as well as setters. So for that, I will write public int get ID after that public void set ID int ID, and then this dot ID dot ID is equal to ID. Public string get title and then public void set title. String then title. this title is equal to title. And now finally, I'll be writing the getter as well as setter for the author. Public string get author. And then public world set author. And then I'll get string author. This dot author. And I'll assign the value the author as author would be. So this is what I have done. I have provided getter as well as setter methods to my respective variables that I have created as well as initialized inside the constructor. Now what I will do inside the service, I'll be writing package form dot example form dot example dot demo dot service. Here I'll import form dot example dot demo dot model dot book. So whichever thing I have created over here, I'll be importing this inside the book service.java. And then I'll also import org.spring framework. That's stereotype.service. Service. And then I'll import array list as well as list. Java dot util dot array list. And then I'll Java dot util dot list. Tell me what is this one?
It's an annotation to denote
Great.
that this class is a service class.
Okay. Public class book service and then private final list book. And this is my variable that is holding the list whose name is book. Is equal to. Here I am creating a new array list. Then public book service. Books dot add, and inside this I'll write new because I'll be creating a new book, and then what am I doing? I'll write the book that is the which I have imported from the model, and here we can see that it's with ID, title as well as author, right? So we can also provide the ID over here as users, but at times what happens is that the Spring Boot itself provides the ID to the provided data over here, and as users also we can provide the ID. And then inside the book, I'll write the ID as 1. And then the title of the book is Spring Boot Guide. Right. And then I'll write the author name. Author will be, suppose, John Doe. And I'll add another book. Add new book. Inside this, the ID will be command. And the title is Java for Beginners. For beginners. And then the name of the author is, suppose, Jane Smith. Right? I have provided a couple of books over here. And then I'll write public list. Which list? That is the book list. Get all. So this is my function whose name is get all books. Inside this, I'll return all the books. And then I'll write public book get book by ID. So what do you think here? What do we have to provide as a parameter inside this parenthesis?
int ID.
Right. Great. Int ID. Return books dot stream, and then I'll use the filter function. Filter function to do what? Filter function in order to filter the books on the basis of their ID. So here is my object, that is B, and B is saying B dot get ID. Which is equal to ID. And then I'll write the function find first. Or else null. So did you understand this whole thing? What am I doing inside the filter function? I'm checking whether the ID of here, the ID that I have provided is same as the ID of the book. Then I'm providing the find first function in order to
Dot
check
is,
the
dot, sorry ma'am, but dot is missing after find first.
yeah. Thank you for the correction. And secondly, I have first what I did, I am getting all the books. And second, I'm filtering the book on the basis of its ID. And third, what I will do, I will also enable the user in order to add the books. So for that, I will write public void add book. And then book. Now, why have I written book over here? Because here I'm importing the book module. So a data which is the entire list which will be having ID, author, and title will be created with the variable book, inside which all the data will get stored. Got it? And here the user can add the books. So for that, what function I will use? I use books dot add function, and inside this I will write book. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'll make another function in order to delete the book. Public void. Delete book. And then in ID. I'll write books. The remove is d dot get ID is equal to ID. So what does it mean? While deleting the book, we also have to provide the ID of the book over here. So this is my book service.java. I've saved this and now I will do my book controller.java. Here I will write the main logic for the create, clean, update as well as delete requests that I will check in my Postman application. So for that, I will write package for dot example dot demo dot controller. Then I can go from dot example one demo dot controller dot view. So here I am importing the book in this file as well. That is the book that I have created inside the model. And then I'll import from dot example dot demo. From the service, I'll import book service. Then import org dot spring framework dot web dot bind and then application bind dot annotation. So we have just studied about the annotation, right? So tell me, which annotation do we use in order to inform the Spring Boot that we will be using the REST APIs? Tell me which annotation we have to use.
REST controller.
Great. So we have to use the REST controller. And this is why we are importing the annotations as well. And then I'll also import Java.
Ma'am, your screen is not sharing.
Is it?
No.
Is
Yeah,
it? Is my screen
It's
visible
fine.
to all?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I've imported all the necessary libraries as well as files from where I have to get my data. And here I will write REST controller. And then I'll write request mapping. And inside this controller, I'll be mentioning my API endpoint as API and then books, which means I have to include these API endpoints inside the URL whenever I'll be testing my APIs through the Postman application. And then I'll write public class book controller. Inside this class, I'll write private final book service. And then the variable that is book service. Public book controller. Inside this, I'll be writing this service with book service. So this is what my parameter for the constructor. So I'll initialize the book service variable with book service value. Let me open that. This one is constructed. And then I'll write first mapping, that is my get mapping, through which I'll be sending the get request through my Postman application to the server. For that, I'll have to mention the get mapping annotation. And below this one, I'll write public. So previously, tell me, how was I able to get the books? Like, I have made two functions, right? First one was without the ID and second one was with the ID, right? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
So what do I have to do over here? I have to make a couple of get mapping requests. So for that, I will write a couple of get mapping function. It is very evident, isn't it? So this get mapping will provide me with all the list of the book. So here I'll write public list book and then get all books. So this function I made in the previous one, that is book service.java. That is why I have imported book service. Now you are being able to know why have I imported all these things. And this function will get executed whenever I'll make the get HTTP request. And here I'll return book service dot get all books. This was my first get mapping request. The book with its ID, I'll write get mapping. And inside this, I'll mention the ID as well, because I want the user to provide the ID for which he is searching. Public get book by ID. Inside this, I'll write return book service dot get book by ID. And then I'll make a post mapping through which the user will be able to add the books. In the previous file as well, I have made the function to enable the user in order to add books as well, isn't it? In which file did I make that function? Tell me.
Controller.
No,
Sorry,
not in the controller.
service.
Yeah, in the service file I made it. So I will call that function, that is add books inside this post mapping annotation. For that I will make another function, public void add book. And then since I have to ask the user in order to provide the details of the book, for that I have to write another annotation, that is request body. And those people who were there in the MERN class, write in order to take the input from the user inside the body. Does anyone remember? We used to write request.body in order to take the input from the user inside the body. In JavaScript, we used to write request.body. But here in Java, we are writing the annotation request body to take the input from the user. And then I'll write book service dot add book. That is, I'm calling the add book function over here. And then I'll finally make a delete request. So for that, I'll use the delete mapping annotation. And here also, in order to delete a book, I have to mention its ID. I'll write ID. And here I'll write public void delete book. And then I'll write path variable. Then I'll write int ID. Book service dot delete book, and inside that I'll pass the ID. Okay. So here there has to be
I think you need to return author and title.
okay. All right. Right. Then inside you can comment ID. Like this. Then I'll put it. Here I'll put so the second movement. So this much coding was required in order to create, read, update, as well as create the books. And here inside the demo application.java, which is the entry point of the uh, entire Spring Boot application, what I will do, I'll right click on this and I'll click on Run Java. See, here we are getting the port number as well. It is 8080. Now what I will do, I'll open my Postman application. And here my endpoint was API books, isn't it? API books was my endpoint, right? And my phone request was post request. So for that, what were my three fields? My three fields were ID, this one, and then the title was, say for example, I'm writing the jungle. And then the author of Jungle Book was Who's going to tell me author of Jungle Book was?
Kipling. Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. And now I send the request. Okay, so the book got created with the ID 1. Now if I have to check, get request. Is it going to tell me? All right. See, we are getting all the books. Let me change the ID from 1 to 2, 3. And next. And if I'll write 3 over here. So,
It should be get.
okay, it's get method. All right. Why am I not getting it? Say, for example, if I want to delete book with the ID, this one. I remove this entire. And get all the books. Get the books. See, the book with ID 1 got deleted. Are you able to see? And if I write 3 over here with the method delete, and if I get all the books, see 3 also got deleted. Now I'll post another book. ID is equal to 1. Title is Harry Potter. Author is suppose Aravind Raj. And now we get all the books. See, the book with its author with ID 1 got created. Are there any doubts with you people regarding the creation and deletion, updation of the books? And here is another way from which you can get all the books. Go inside here in a new tab and write HTTP localhost 8080 and then API books. Okay, it's not HTTPS, it is HTTP. See, we are getting. First is ID 2, title is Java for beginners, author is Jane Smith, and the ID 1, title Harry Potter, and then author is Aravind Raj. Are you being able to see? You can ask me whichever doubts you can have, you are having with this, or else you can leave the meeting at 9 o'clock.
Ma'am, why
Yeah.
weren't we getting the book according to the ID we are providing?
Okay, let me see. There might be some issues. Let me check.
Yeah, you have to use, I think, path variable in the ID function and all that.
Just a second, let me check. Yeah,
Get book by get book by ID 2028.
in which, yeah. Okay, I have tried the path variable as well. Okay, int ID.
And ma'am, you also have to delete 0. I mean, like you have written 0, I think.
Just a second. The ID is true.
In line 29, you have mentioned 0, I think.
Yeah, I have changed the ID with 0. It's already in use. Still not getting it.
You have to like, I think you have to mention after path variable the ID. Like you have in bracket, in quotation mark, and then ID in line
Wait for
28.
it. Okay, there has occurred some issues. I will check it in the next class and then I'll take it. All right. All right. If you are not having any issues, then you can leave it.
Thank you.
No more issues or doubts?